Amen. And tequila. Get on you. Is there water by chance?
Coach, we've been talking about the turnovers a lot, and you were not happy the other night. This is one of y'all's best games at protecting the basketball. It kept your head above water, and then defensively forcing them was huge. I mean, just how big was that? You know, the turnover battle on both sides.
It was huge. You know, our word for this game was focus, focus, focus. I think I told him the first quarter of South Carolina and half of it showed you who the team you could be. But when those turnovers occurred and we didn't score, we lost focus. Then we started playing home run ball, and home run ball equals ugly basketball. And I told them if you could stay focused and stay the course, especially knowing they're going to make runs. I think the last game, we were shocked that South Carolina was going to make a run. Wow, that's on me, all right? But my staff did an unbelievable job with a scout. We talked about where we could attack them, knowing what kind of ball screen coverage that they were going to do. And because we were organized and we stayed the course, but most importantly, I'm going to keep saying it, we stayed focused for 4 quarters is the reason why we got a top 10 win at home tonight.
You know, sometimes in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, it seemed like one of those games where you got to let your star take over. It seems like that's sort of what happened tonight with Jerk. Just run the offense through her and let her do her thing.
And the play for me is, again, stay focused. I told her in the last game at South Carolina, we watched the entire game together. I said, we got to learn from this kid. All right, me and you got to talk, and that's what I love about her. She holds me accountable, and I hold her accountable too. And I talked about there was moments there in that South Carolina game you didn't trust your teammates. The moments are going to arrive again that you don't have to hit home run ball. If you go into collapse, I need you to make a pass. And I thought she made an unbelievable play there about 5:30, 6 minutes in the clock in the fourth quarter. Comes off a nice high on ball screen. They collapse. She throws it out to Poe, and I was like, oh, baby, now how you want to guard her. And when she plays like that, our team can eat because the kid's a dog, and she wants to win.
And when you talk about, you know, staying focused because you know that storm's coming, how much of that is preparation, you know, in the days leading up to a game like this versus even just trying to stay focused in the moment?
Yeah, so, I mean, where I'm going to go with this for that question is focus to me is, and I think everybody needs, again, to understand, I talked about this in the postgame. I wrote all the numbers of the returning players from every team. And I asked the team, I said, y'all know what these numbers are? One of my kids said lottery, so those first 4 numbers, let's make sure we go write those down because this might be my last game, y'all. All right, because I'm about to win the lottery. All right, that's how I feel tonight. All right, Jim, I'm gonna buy you a ticket too. Okay, but I told them, I said, they were like, no, coach, I don't know what that means. Is it rankings? I said, no. This number, and I put a box around 3, is how many returning players we have on this team. Give yourself grace. Give yourself an opportunity. And then I drew a road, and I told them, I said, listen, we're already on a good path. Shut out the outside noise. You got a top 25 win against Utah, which is hard. South Florida's a great win. Belmont's a great win. They only lost by 2 to Ohio State, who's ranked 12th in the country. I said, you got to stay together and you got to believe. The SEC, which, again, I mentioned the other day, Megan, all right, my wife's in here. We got to send a Christmas card to the SEC office, all right, because they don't like me, all right, because they gave me the first 3 opponents out the gate where, you know what, they brought the smoke. And there's more smoke to come down the line, but I told them we got to learn from it. And if we're going to sit here and cry and point fingers and not focus within this team and this locker room, but most important, this coaching staff and these players, then what are we doing? And I thought tonight they were focused on each other and played for each other, and that's why we were able to get the game done in 4 quarters.
Coach, I believe you had 10 players score points tonight. How
many?
10.
I love it.
How big was that depth for you tonight, especially in the post with Kayla and Neer?
It's huge because, again, there's a vision for this program. It's own it. I told them, like, year 1 was why not us. Year 2 was 1. This year is own it. Own it that we got a good team. Own it that we're going to have to go through some adversity. Own it there's multiple people who could step up and be a special team in a hard league. So for so many people, how many again? 10 to score tonight. That shows you, again, what this team can become. But I also learned, and I'm going to tell them to them tomorrow, all right, this is a Big Ten win, but this can't be the final rodeo. We learned that last year, all right? So your boy ain't going out tonight. Your boy going to bed, and then we'll wake up early, and we're going to focus on Georgia because we got a lot of basketball ahead of us.
Yeah, kind kind of off that, not only did you have depth scoring all the way out throughout the lineup, how nice was it to have both that and having Jerkayla just go off in the second half? Not just points, but also just rebounds for everybody.
Awesome. And again, if our fan base can't believe after watching this, again, I keep on referencing a quarter and a half. Take the number 10 team, Oklahoma, who has 10. What was the number again? 10. That might be my next lottery number. All right, 10 people. All right, for Oklahoma with the number 1 transfer portal kid, and we compete for 4 quarters. I mean, it's huge to your point that so many people showed up, that we can do it together. But for me, it started on the defensive end and keeping that focus. When we didn't make shots in that second quarter, I told them you only had 1 turnover in the first quarter. And then that first media timeout, I said, we're at 3. So what we want to do, we want to give ourselves a chance and an opportunity by shooting the ball. We want to go ahead and get them back out here before the snowstorm. All right, so they stayed together. They stayed the course, so it was great.
That second quarter, like you said, I mean, it was playing out a lot like the South Carolina game. Y'all didn't score much in the final 4.5 minutes, whatever it was. What was the difference in the third quarter to kind of stay in the fight there, and then you get the big run late in the quarter and kind of get back in the game instead of letting that one, go to the wayside like you did against South Carolina?
You want the truth?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Can you handle the truth? Just like the movie. I watched that last night. Sorry. That's my moment. All right. The truth is Jerkayla Jordan. She looked at me and goes, Coach, what are you doing in the second quarter? And I'm like, what's up? And again, that's our relationship because we've been through the ringer for 3 years. As much as I'm talking about not having return experience, me and her have been through the grind. All right? And she looked at me, she goes, Anaya's cooking. Get her the ball. So at halftime, I acknowledged Anaya. I said, you are right. You know what? I make mistakes too. I ain't perfect. Basketball is a game of mistakes. So we realized who had the hot hand, who had the right matchup. And that's big, again, for Jerk to say that in a night that she had a big performance, to check me to make sure I was making the right calls for the other people to cook. And because of that, I think we had great balance there in the second half. And if I can get Anaya and Jerk to be Batman, not Batman and Robin, they're both can be Batmans and eat and play together, all right, then this team can do special things because the rest of my team is special. But they also know that they got to feed off of those two, and those two got to play together for the team. And when they do that, you can do special things like you did tonight.
Coach, another game you guys won at the free throw line with the other team making shots, and if you guys don't make them, it could be very well a different outcome. How encouraging is that to see that you guys are, cold down the stretch and ice in your veins to put it away?
Man, huge. That's why the Medina moment was huge. I looked at her, and you could just see this is her big first game, top 10. I said, girl, I looked at her and I went, smile, relax, enjoy the moment, right? Keep that. What's my word, everybody? Oh, y'all not focused. What? Focus. One more time. What's my word? Okay, thank you. My kids ain't paying attention. All right, stay focused. All right, and I thought for your point of the question, to keep that focus and own the moment, especially when we ran out of timeouts and the game was long and you just were like, what's going on? Again, it says a lot about who they are and the big game gene that they have in them.
Yeah, sort of a similar question, but with the South Carolina game, we saw you guys get out to a big lead, and then it got away from you, and then the end of the first half was sort of looked like a similar story, but you were able to really use that third quarter to stem the tide and get back in it. So what were sort of some of the keys there, obviously, other than playing through Jerk?
Just again, I keep saying it. Focus. I can't say it enough. Here's what I wrote down for them, and I talked to them. Everybody loses focus when bad things happen. All right, and basketball is a game of mistakes. So if you can stay focused and stay the course, you'll overcome whatever's thrown at you, whether it's not a call, turnover, an off night. And then again, it was just don't be discouraged. All right, keep your focus, and if you give me a full commitment and full effort, then the scoreboard's going to take care of itself.
I think Denham ended up with 5 steals, kind of, and brought a lot of energy. What did you see from her tonight? I know she didn't have a big offensive night.
Everything I've been saying in these last 12 press conferences, right? Everybody's like, hey, should you make an adjustment? Should you do this? I go, guys, are we watching basketball? No offense, I love y'all. But the kid does stuff that has nothing to do with points or rebounds. When you're building a team, you got to have somebody that takes pride like no other and all the other little things, because that's hard to find. Denham is the little engine that could. She had a charge that, was unbelievable. She had a 3 that I thought she came out aggressive. A huge 2 in the second half, but most importantly, she kept our team together when she was getting pressed like no other in that backcourt. So those variables and who she is as a person, I hope she enjoys this, especially in the transfer portal area when kids like, man, should I made this move? Should I done this? But what if I do? And what if it actually works out? And I'm proud for her to have a win tonight with her team, the boys she played.
You talked earlier this week about how Oklahoma was going to push the pace a lot and try to get down the floor super quickly. How would you just assess how you were able to defend that tonight?
Yeah, it starts with Denham and Destiny, all right? Make sure you write about those two because we told them for as hard as they push the ball, somebody got to stop the ball. Somebody's got to go hurry and find the point guard so they can't advance the ball. And if they don't advance the ball and we find the ball, then we got a chance to get stops. And you're not going to stop them every possession, but you got a chance to at least keep them below their average. I think they average, 90 points a game? All right? And for us to hold them to 77 is a heck of a job, and it starts with those two just, again, be willing dogs, all right, and get after it, and most importantly, muck it up.
I know you've been focused on this one, but any thoughts on Georgia? Yep.
Heck yeah. You know what? Last time I went there, I got my butt kicked. All right? I'm from the state of Georgia. I'm going to tell all my family, don't show up because you jinxed me. All right? They wanted to meet me after the game, and I told them I didn't want to meet with them because I got waxed by 30. All right? What was the score of the Georgia game tonight?
They hit a 3 at the buzzer.
To win? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now they got momentum. It's been a dogfight. Last year wasn't a blowout. I have the most respect for Katie. Again, this is why this league is so hard. We're talking about an Oklahoma team that's run, and then Georgia's a team that's going to play the matchup zone and muck it up. They're going to make it ugly, and then most important, we're back on the road. So I'm going to tell them, can we have a focus about us that we learned from Kentucky? Because God knows that was awful, all right? And how tough can we be? But joy tonight and back to work. And if we can keep that mindset, keep the focus, keep the commitment, and keep our blinders on, but we keep out the outside noise, then we can get to our destination come March, and that's what I'm focusing on.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all on Wednesday.
Thanks, everybody. I know. I was laughing at you. I know. I'm just making it. Giving you time. I don't know when I'm going to be able to talk to you. Benjamin, you happy about Denham today? Oh, yeah. Okay, because your honor the other day, you asked me if I was taking out the lineup. You know I love you. I'm just giving you a hard time. I got it. Y'all, you know we got to give each other. I appreciate y'all.
She lives in the same apartment complex. I see her card.
Well, make sure you give her a high